Hey guys, welcome to Double Shot of Steelers here on DK Pittsburgh Sports. My name is Chris Halleck. This episode of Double Shot of Steelers is presented by FanDuel. DK not in town; he is in Tampa. He's going to be covering some hockey between the Penguins and Lightning down there in that state that I know he just loves to visit, loves to spend time in. So you're stuck with me today, and so I apologize for that. But we will be talking some football today. And here after the break coming up, we will get to a lot of your questions, a lot of just give and take. You guys are the co-hosts today. So yeah, that's what it's going to be. But I did want to start off today because I've been thinking a lot about this entire run defense issue. I mean, the Steelers just gave up 249 yards on the ground. It's the most that they had given up in Pittsburgh in 50 years, since the 1975 season. And of course, I think 1975, and if you're a Steelers fan, 1975 is a good year because the Steelers won the Super Bowl in 1975. There was Super Bowl 10. They beat the Cowboys 21-17. So when you hear that the 249 yards that they gave up against the Bills was the first time since that season, you're like, man, I didn't think that anything bad happened that season. After all, the Steelers went 12-2 and went on and won the Super Bowl, repeated. Well, I went back and I looked at that game. And I rewatched at least a part of the America's Game documentary. And I did want to bring up something that was said by Dwight White, one of the members of the Steel Curtain defense. And I wanted to get the reaction of what it was from that game. 310 rushing yards given up. Even for 1975, that's a lot. That's a lot of rushing yards. Dwight White, after the game, or at least in the America's Game documentary, said, I don't know how we lost that game or why we lost that game, but what I do know is that whoever's on deck the next week, you're in deep, you know what. Doo-doo. And yeah, doo-doo. Now, he did say, you know what, he didn't want to say the word, but I think about that reaction, and then I went and looked at the rest of the schedule. Well, the Steelers rattled off W's, and I mean a lot of W's. In fact, they only lost one more game the rest of the season, and that was their season finale against the Rams. But outside of that game, they won every other game that they played after that, and that includes every game in the postseason, and again, beating the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. So I'm thinking of this. I'm thinking of, okay, that's how that team responded. They got punched in the mouth. O.J. Simpson ran all over them. O.J. Simpson by himself, I think, had 227 yards in the game. And then I think about the 299-yard game, the one that we've talked about a million times on this show. And I think about the way that team responded after that. What was the response to that? And I'm not here for the snarky comments. The actual response to that was, as soon as I got to Mobile, the first time I really saw any members of the team moving forward was at the Senior Bowl. And everything that I had heard was, we are addressing the defensive front. That game can't happen again. That was the response. And there was action put in place off of that. It wasn't just words. They went into the NFL draft, and they literally, Derek Harmon in the first round, Jack Sawyer in the fourth round, Y.A. Black in the fifth round. They did their homework. They brought in a lot of defensive tackles and edge rushers that can defend the run. Jack Sawyer, of course, being more of a run-first edge rusher more than a pass-rushing edge rusher. They set out to defend the run better. After that, there was action that came from that 299 game. So here we are. Fast forward all the way to where we are now. This team just gave a terrible performance, 249 yards on the ground, the most since that game in week 2 against the Bills in 1975. So what's the response? What's the response going to be? What's the urgency level? And there's a video I'm going to play from today's meeting with Teryl Austin that he had with reporters. And I wanted to ask him about that. And he was ironically he was already answering a question where he's kind of talking about obviously the urgency or the whatever to fix the run defense. And well, he answered one question, and so I responded with a question of my own, very, very much in the same vein. And well, you can see the answer here in just a second. Let's get everything set up to play that. Where are we at here? There we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
No, again, it's the same thing. We all know what the rivalry is more important than the last game. We know what this rivalry is. Really, two teams that are built, and for a lot of years that are built similarly. Try to, same type of ethos in the building, hard work, tough. And so that's really what we're doing. And we know we have to go in there and play and play physical and play good, solid team defense. So what happened last week is really, or what happened last year, we all addressed those concerns in the offseason, and now it just becomes about this game and, how do we handle this game and try to win this game, knowing the type of game it's going to be.
Well, TA, that game last year in the playoffs was kind of a catalyst for wanting to address it in the draft and free agency. Does last week's performance, giving up 249 rushing yards, be a catalyst for, hey, enough is enough? We got to take care of this and nip it in the bud now.
Well, it's again, like I said, it was, we worked. We obviously didn't get what we wanted done last week, and so we go back to the drawing board. I think that overall we've been pretty solid in the run area, but we came up short last week. And so we get back to the drawing board and see what we can do better this week, knowing that, they're a team that likes to run the ball. They got an explosive runner, Hall of Fame runner. They got a quarterback that can make guys miss and get out and make explosive plays. So we have our work cut out for us. But that, like I like to say, it's no different than any other week. We got to get back. And the only thing that solves any of these problems that we have is working hard, staying true to what we're trying to do and being able to come out and put last week's performance and understand that was last week. What are we going to do this week?
Now, I'm not saying that Teryl Austin needed to come out with some sort of Dwight White response and just say, well, the Ravens are due for a butt kicking because, well, they beat our butts last time, and so now it's our turn. We're not going to do it. It doesn't have to be that Dwight White. And ultimately, it doesn't matter what he says now. He could say what he said. He could say something that would make any fan want to run through a brick wall. Ultimately, what really, really matters is what happens on that field at M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday afternoon. That's what really matters. Regardless of what Teryl Austin actually says, if that defense goes out there and they shut down Lamar Jackson, if he plays, obviously we'll get into that too. If Lamar Jackson plays, either way, if they shut down the Ravens, if they don't allow the Ravens to run the ball and they really do dominate physically, then that's the type of response that you want to see from this football team. And we can talk, again, we've been talking about how the sky is falling. This team's 6-6. They don't deserve to go anywhere. They aren't going anywhere. But ultimately, what you want to see from this team, regardless of what you want to see as the end result, and for many of you, that's still for Mike Tomlin to be fired. But still, what you should want to see, at least out of the players, is for them to just say, listen, enough is enough. We're not going to let this happen again. We set out to not let the 299 game type thing happen again. And it's not even a whole season later. And they give up a historical amount of rushing yards on their own field. So their response really, really needs to be go out there and like have that Dwight White essence. And make the Ravens, even though the Ravens weren't the one. Yeah, I understand. Like way back in the day, like way back in January, the Ravens were the ones that do it to them. But they should be motivated from the 249 the Bills just did. You should be making the Ravens want to pay for what the Bills just did to you. That should be the response that you're looking for. And not much of what I heard from Teryl Austin there was thinking that that's coming on Sunday. Now, again, what he says today on a Thursday in a press conference room doesn't matter. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter, because even if he did give a great speech that would be echoed in movies for years to come, doesn't matter if they go out there and they give up another 200 plus rushing yards again. So I'm just curious, how much urgency really is there How much urgency is there to get this fixed, to finally say, what, you know what? We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Enough is enough. We're not going to be run on like this. It's just, I'm putting my foot down. And how much buy-in is there from the players? That's a legitimate question, too, because when Cam Hayward says, I'm not sure if everyone's pissed off about the way we just played. He said that after the game. Now, he's heated. They just got their butts kicked. He had been kneed by Josh Allen in the stomach. He was all up in his feelings about stuff. And by all means, you say a lot of things whenever you're upset. But I'm really, really curious to see how this team responds, because honestly, I have no idea. I'm at this point, and I've been at this point. I don't know what team is going to show up on Sunday. I just don't. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get to what you guys want to talk about regarding this football team. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Double Shot of Steelers right after this.
For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show.
Hey guys, welcome back to Double Shot of Steelers here on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Listen, we are in the home stretch when it comes to the football season. Playoff races are tightening up. The Steelers and Ravens are fighting for the division crown. So it's now really, really time. Like, if it wasn't time already, it's time now to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are going to pull things off and they're going to go win the division, I mean, this Sunday is a pivotal Sunday for either team. So whichever way you think it's going to go, this Sunday is a really, really good time to lock in your bet, because whatever your game, the FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, features, and specials, so you can join in on all the action. The line, by the way, still at 5.5 points. Ravens favored by 5.5 points. So I'm curious to see if this line continues to evolve, because, listen, Lamar Jackson was a limited participant on Wednesday in practice with his ankle injury, and he didn't practice today. So he is heading in the wrong direction. Listen, we could continue to make jokes. Well, they played the Chargers without their two tackles, and they stunk it up. And then they played the Bills without their two starting offensive tackles, and they were even worse. It's a completely different scenario if a two-time MVP quarterback is on the sideline and not some offensive tackles. I mean, that's a big deal if Lamar Jackson doesn't play. Even if Lamar Jackson plays and is less than 100%, as Teryl Austin actually said, like, does Lamar Jackson's injury possibly change the way you play against him? And TA nipped that in the bud and said, if you alter the way you play anytime you get into the same stadium as Lamar Jackson, thinking that he's going to be less than 100%, then that's malpractice. I don't think he used the word malpractice, but that's pretty much what he said. You cannot do that. You have to go into a game, any game in which Lamar Jackson is dressed, and assume that he's 100%. Like, that's the way you have to go. So if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, it's interesting to see what happens to the line on FanDuel, but it's also interesting to see how things change for the Ravens. And in even earlier this season and in other years, listen, I thought, while it's as fun to make fun of the fact that Tyler Huntley was named to the Pro Bowl the year that he was, when you look at the numbers and everything, like, how did he go to the Pro Bowl that year? And that just kind of goes to show you what the Pro Bowl has become. The point that I'm trying to make here when it comes to this is, at least, like, Tyler Huntley is kind of the perfect backup for Lamar Jackson. He's got good mobility. He plays in a similar style. He's kind of Lamar Jackson light. Like he's the diet version of Lamar Jackson. He does a lot of the similar things. He can play in the same system, in the same offense, run a lot of the same plays and concepts, and he can do the read option stuff that they do with Lamar Jackson. They can create and run quarterback designed runs with Tyler Huntley. He's the perfect backup. The Ravens should have never let him go in the first place. They should have just done what the Steelers did with Charlie Batch and all that. Like, you found your backup quarterback that can always back up Ben Roethlisberger. Well, keep that guy. Keep that guy for as long as you can. The Ravens should have done that with Tyler Huntley, and smart on them to bring him back whenever he became available, because obviously it wasn't working with Cooper Rush or anybody else that they've had to back up. So I do think that even if Tyler Huntley plays, that yes, the Ravens can still win this football game. Absolutely. Derrick Henry can still run. I understand he hasn't quite been King Henry the way he was last season or the way he was those 2 years in Tennessee under Arthur Smith, but no, they can still win the game. Absolutely. But I still think it's a big deal if Lamar Jackson doesn't play at the same time. Anytime a 2-time MVP is not playing, it's a big deal. Even if the backup is a quality backup, it's still a big deal. Okay. Paranormal life, paranormal in the funhouse. I can read all that. That's all one big word. I have a question. What does TJ Watt got to do going forward and find himself again, like getting to the quarterback? Well, I think there's not really one answer to that. Unfortunately, the first thing that has to happen is other guys got to start playing better. And I'm not saying that Nick Herbig isn't playing well. I think Nick Herbig's playing great. I actually think Alex Highsmith's playing well too. But I haven't seen the Steelers pass rush be consistent enough outside, like other guys outside of Watt, maybe outside of Herbig. And yes, you can include the defensive tackles in this, to force offenses, and when it comes to their protection and how they shift protection, to say, okay, we got to stop doubling and chipping TJ, or not doing it as often. It's actually hurting us it's hurting us more to keep shifting protection over in TJ's side. And we saw that play out in Minnesota. In Minnesota, they kept shifting everything over to TJ's side, and that's why you saw Keanu Benton eat. That's why you saw Nick Herbig play really well, because those guys had good games, and they took advantage of it, and they made the Vikings pay for it. And the way you can do that is to free up TJ a little bit more when other guys do that. It hasn't been consistent. It's showed up, like I said, in games like against the Vikings, but it doesn't show up every week. Then the other part of it is TJ's got to play better. I think he'd be the first one to tell you that. TJ's got to play better. He can't be getting shut down by tight ends in solo run blocking like he did against the Bills. That just can't happen. He's got to play better. He's got to do more things. He's got to listen. He doesn't have the same get off as he used to. That just comes with age. You when you get older, you slow down more. Your game has to adapt, especially at that position. Now, you don't have to always be the fastest guy to be successful off the edge. You can do other things. So he's got to play better. He's got to find different ways to win. Because if it's really a situation in which he really needed that elite get off in order to be like the TJ Watt we all know, that's a concern going forward. Huge concern going forward. All right, let's see. Let's get some questions. I know. Let's see.
I started a bunch.
You start a bunch. Okay, let me see. Pittsburgh Hornets 87 says, I know the hot topic is Tomlin, but do you expect TJ and Cam to want to be a part of the rebuild next year if we do need one? Well, first off, the Steelers will never rebuild. They'll never go into what you would define, or what most people would define as a rebuild. I can't remember a time in which the Steelers were waving the white flag on a season and saying, yeah, we're going to take a year off. We're going to lose a bunch of games. We're going to tank. We're going to get really good draft position, and we're going to collect as many assets as we possibly can, whether that be players or premium draft picks, whatever it is. That's not happening. And then is there any sign that they want to retire or leave? I think, well, with Cam's age, you have to almost at any moment and at any season now expect Cam to say, you know what, I'm done. You know, I've my body's been through enough. I feel like it's the right time. I'm going to retire. You know, you kind of have to expect that, even if I don't think it'll happen. After the season, of course, we still have 6 games to go, so who knows? But where we sit right now, I wouldn't expect Cam to retire, but you almost kind of have to expect it again at his age. TJ, he's not retiring anytime soon, but would they want to be a part of it, of whatever the Steelers are going to do? I absolutely think so. Omar Khan is continuing to move things forward. He's going to want to continue going forward and get that long-term quarterback. That is his primary goal. If he can get it this year, he will get it. He will. Like, I'm going to say this year, I mean the next draft. Like, if he can get that quarterback, he's going to get it. But he's also not just going to he's not going to do what the Steelers did when they drafted Kenny Pickett and just be like, you know what, we need a quarterback. We're taking the best one available, one we're picking. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to go get one. All right, let's see. Captain Crunch asks, how much do you think the possibility of Huntley playing changes the defensive scheme? Oh, I kind of went over that. I mean, I don't think it changes much when it comes to the defensive scheme because the Ravens will operate in a lot of the similar types of sets that they do when Lamar's in there. If you notice I've been paying attention to the Ravens, whenever it was Cooper Rush, their offense went completely, there was nothing there. He wasn't able to execute things. I'm pretty sure they were doing things. I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure they were doing some things that they couldn't do when Lamar is in there. Huntley, you can. Is it going to be done to the level that Lamar plays at? Of course not. Lamar's a 2-time MVP, but like I said, he's kind of like a diet version of Lamar. He can do a lot of the same types of things, just not as at high of a level. Skunkworks asks, Chris, back in July, did you see the season unfolding the way it has? Honestly, no. I predicted the Steelers to go. Now, I didn't make a prediction in July, but I predicted the Steelers to go 10-7 and then lose in the first round of the playoffs. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, Chris, way to think outside the box on that one. That's kind of been what's happening every year. But I think there's a different way that it can unfold. But ultimately, I didn't think that this team was going to be much more than a team that could, at its ceiling, win more than a playoff game. I think at its ceiling, it could have been better. And it could have been a team that goes on and wins at least one playoff game. But I didn't see enough back then to be like, yeah, this is a team that's going to take a huge step forward. Again, while I think Aaron Rodgers, he was never going to bring that type of game, that quality of quarterback play to take the Steelers to the next level. And that ultimately, I'm going to continue to push this because it's not like an agenda or anything like that. It's just fact. You need a quarterback to win in this league. You just do. 3/4 of the teams that have won a Super Bowl in this league, in its league's history, spanning the entire time from the time the Super Bowl won until now, 3/4 of the team that have won the Super Bowl had a quarterback that is either already in the Hall of Fame or will undoubtedly be in the Hall of Fame. We're talking no arguments, no like, hey, it's Eli Manning. Should he go or should he not go? No, I'm talking Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. Drew Brees is going to get in this year. Like those guys, like they're not in yet, but only because of eligibility. Like they will be in. 3/4 of the teams. You need a quarterback. Oh, that's just, it's what you need. And so, no, I didn't think the Steelers were going to go that way. Playing out this bad, I didn't think the defense was going to be this bad. I'll at least give you that answer. I didn't think the defense was going to be this bad. I really, really did not think that. Wayne asks, in hindsight, is this why Mason should have started from the jump street to begin the rebuild? Again, the Steelers aren't rebuilding. Like they're going to always. Okay, I'm not trying to do the hockey parallels just like DK does too, because we're going to have double shot of Penguins starting next week too. But like, I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. Like, the Penguins are in the process of what you would normally call a rebuild. They dedicated everything to the future. Now you're not selling off all of your pieces. You're keeping guys. First off, you have to spend to at least the cap floor. You have to. You can't just sell everything off and not pay any money and recoup money. Like you have to spend a certain amount. So it helps to have Brian Rust and Ricard Raquel and those type of guys on your roster. But I mean, they have an entire line tonight that's being made up of Rutger McGroarty, Ben Kindle, and Ville Koivunen, like young guys, like 2 teenagers and 1 guy in his early 20s. Like it's an insanely young line. There's a clear movement forward for the future, where the future is prioritized. Yet the Penguins are winning games, and they're currently in a playoff spot right now. The Steelers, like this, that's what the Steelers want to do. They want to move forward and collect assets for the future, but compete at the same time. And a league like the NFL allows you to do that. You don't have to tank. You don't have to go through a rebuild to get the pieces that you need. The Chiefs didn't tank to get Patrick Mahomes. There are plenty of other, like sometimes you have the Texans and they bottom out to go get CJ Stroud. Like there can be instances in which you do that, but you don't have to. And the Steelers never want to do that. They never want to wave a white flag on a season, and that doesn't have to happen. Mahomes is not an outlier. This team must win all 5 games. That requires less conservatism in play calling, both offensively and defensively. Lose the fear. The 2 games you need to win more than anything is the 2 games against the Ravens. I mean, even winning this Sunday, when we're talking about Steelers playoff odds, they skyrocket if they win on Sunday, because not only do they go a full game above the Ravens, but then at the time they have the tiebreaker, and then they force the Ravens to have to beat them just to get to a split. If the Steelers are going to go 3-2 the rest of the way, which I think is kind of like your bottom line, like you have to go at least 3-2, at least. You've got to beat the Ravens at least one time. You got to beat the Browns and at least beat the Dolphins. I don't think that's too much to ask. I really, really don't. I'm serious. I really don't think that's too much to ask. Now, do you want to win your division going 9-8? No, you don't. You'd rather go 10-7. And at this point right now, you've got to go 4-2 to finish 10-7. Wait, no, 4-1, 4-2. I can't do math. They have 5 games left. Yeah, I can't do math.
Don't worry, ask them to do it.
Yeah, you guys do the math. I'm a journalist. You guys do the math for me. Either way, they got to win at least 3 games. They got to beat the Ravens once. They got to beat the Browns. They got to beat the Dolphins at least. You got to win at least 3 games. 4-1 would be great. You go 10-7. Beat the Ravens twice. Good question here from Jonathan. Who starts Pierre Samuel Jr.? It's a good question. Well, Pierre's got a clear concussion protocol. That's a big one. He doesn't play if he doesn't clear concussion protocol, and that's completely out of the Steelers' hands. There's no, hey, can you tough it out? No, he's got a clear concussion protocol. That's all league oriented. It comes with an independent doctor that comes in, do the final clearance and everything. So it's hard to know at this point who's going to start. But if assuming Pierre is healthy, I would assume Pierre starts and probably is in line to get the most snaps right away. But I think based off of what they were saying about what TA said about Samuel today, which is that they're working to accelerate him, they will be light on their feet if Pierre is able to play in terms of who's playing more. Like, it's not just going to be Pierre out there for 100% of the snaps. I think Samuel's going to get time to play whether Pierre plays or not. Obviously, if Pierre is sidelined and he can't play because he didn't clear protocol, then yeah. Then, yeah, you're going to get Samuel. Chris, what do you think we have to do defensively to get off the field on 3rd down? Should we blitz more on 3rd down? Absolutely not. That is the problem that was happening earlier in the season. The Steelers were more of a man coverage, run, like blitz-heavy defense, and they were exposed by the Bengals in that Week 7 game in Cincinnati. That would be the worst thing you could possibly do, is to go more man coverage and more blitzing. That would be atrocious. Do not do that. What they need to do is they need to go to more, of the 2 high looks. In my opinion, I'm not a defensive coordinator. I'm not saying they should game plan. There's a reason why I am a journalist and not a football coach. I don't want that job. But when the Steelers defense has been at their best this season, it's been taking away more things in coverage and allowing your 4-man rush do its job. You pay TJ Watt and Cam Hayward a lot of money. Nick Herbig has been perhaps your most reliable and consistent pass rusher. Get him on the field more often. Use more of that outside linebacker, or like 3 outside linebacker look in which you have all 3 of Watt, Highsmith, and Herbig on the field. Not saying you do that every single time you want to rush the passer, but have that on the field a little bit more often. And James just said, Chris just jinxed us, they'll blitz more. I hope not. Again, they when they've had a really, really high blitz rate, you expose what's going on behind you. Now, again, you can't just go 0% blitz rate. You have to apply pressure every now and then. But if it's 3rd and long, no, don't blitz. God, no, don't blitz. Crystal Next says Tampa 2. Keep everything. I'm fine with running Tampa 2. Keep everything in front of you. I'm fine with running quarters. Keep everything in front of you. If it's 3rd and 12, why are you sending? Number one, why are you in man coverage if it's 3rd and 12? You're forced. Like, they got to get 12 yards. Have your zone defenders drop back and be 8 yards from the line of scrimmage. Keep everything in front. No. Good Lord, no. Wondering Horses play Robber more. When you do run like cover 1, Robber, any kind of hole defender in the middle of the field. Why they run man free so much, I have no idea. No clue. But so then there's the other side of this. Wayne says, I hate all the off coverage on defense, even when they play zone. But again, like, when you play zone defense, you're never going to completely shut down the opposing offense. The only way you really can consistently shut down an offense and never really open yourself up is if you do play heavy man and you've got like all pro corners that can consistently shut down receivers regardless of who they're facing. That's what Tomlin thought they had when they got all their coverage people, when they brought in Jalen Ramsey and brought in Darius Slay. They thought that they would be able to run out there and just man up with anybody else and be like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. We're going to consistently shut you down. That obviously did not work. With zone defense, yes, there will be times in which you do get hurt, but it's usually a lot more minimal. If you play the zone defenses correctly and well and execute them consistently, those plays will be very few and far between, and you'll allow your pass rush to get there more frequently, which is ultimately what the Steelers want to do. So, wondering where...
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, no, it's fine. Listen, I'm never going to say no to you helping with the comments, because if I try to talk and read comments at the same time, it's going to be a really bad show.
That shouldn't be possible for anyone.
Oh, but there are people that can do that.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think they're just making it look that way.
Well, they do a really good job. I don't do that. Who is the running back behind Henry on the roster? I've actually got to look that up. I'm still in the process of doing all my Baltimore Ravens homework. I've done a lot of stuff when it comes to, usually it's Justice Hill, but he's on IR. I do know that. Baltimore Ravens, we're going to go to team. We're going to go to depth chart. Trying to think who it is right now. Keaton Mitchell is the first running back on the depth chart behind Derrick Henry. Not having Justice Hill is also, pretty significant for the Ravens. Again, Hill's usually pretty good. Yeah, he's usually a pretty good guy. So them not having Hill's, again, when you think about like when the Ravens are at full strength, you think about Justice Hill being a really nice change of pace back. Not saying Keaton Mitchell can't play, but yeah. Every time I hear the last name Mitchell, I think of Joe Buck's Mitchell commentary. Joshua Petrick asks, Chris, if the Steelers get eliminated with games remaining, any chance we could see Will Howard get some game action? I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. I number one, you'd be benching Aaron Rodgers. I don't see that happening. I don't see Aaron Rodgers getting flat out benched, especially if it's his last season. And like, unless like Rodgers literally like takes the helmet off and, hands it, like figuratively speaking, hands to Will Howard and says, here you go, kid, you take over. I don't see that happening. The Steelers entered this season with the intention that this be a developmental year for Will Howard, which meant no on-field snaps. And I know that sounds backwards because You know, you have other leagues. You have hockey, which has minor leagues. You have baseball, which has minor leagues, and they can actually get game action to develop. It doesn't work like that in the NFL. And there's been plenty of proof over the years that you don't have to have a season in which you get snaps or get meaningful, or at least meaningful snaps in games in order to have a developmental first year. Again, I'll go to the Patrick Mahomes thing. Mahomes didn't play his first year. Remember, the Chiefs were coming off a 12-4 season with Alex Smith at quarterback. They weren't going to draft Patrick Mahomes and then be like, yeah, we're gonna bench Alex Smith, who helped us get to 10-4 or to 12-4 the year before. No, Mahomes sat for a season behind Alex Smith, and then they handed the reins to him. So developmental years can happen in the NFL, and that's what this season has been. I don't see Will Howard getting game action. I really, really don't. I think the only time you're going to see Will Howard in a game is if, number one, there's already a court like what we saw in Chicago. If Aaron Rodgers is inactive, or one of the other quarterbacks is inactive, like legitimately inactive, and Will Howard is then literally the backup quarterback, the dressed backup quarterback, and then the starter gets injured, and then he is literally forced into the game because of injury. I think that's the only way you see Will Howard get into a game this year. Let's see. Danny, did Rodgers call his own plays in the fourth when we finally moved the ball downfield? I can't confirm or deny that, and anybody else trying to confirm or deny that is speculating. They just are, unless they literally can show texts or whatever, or say that they had a conversation with Aaron Rodgers or Arthur Smith about it. Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. It's all speculation stuff, and this is what people love to do on social media. They love to speculate. They love to talk. Oh, I think Aaron Rodgers might have been called. Nobody knows. D.A. Pete says, I find it hard to believe the players are not putting out maximum effort. If they are, then either they aren't good enough or the scheme is bad. The scheme can be fixed, but the Steelers never do that. Well, I'm not inclined to believe that it's because of effort. I do believe the scheme is that bad. That's why I think it's outdated. I'll put it that way. And then a lot of the things that they ask the players to do on the defensive side. And again, this is the big thing for me about Matt Canada's offense. Outside of predictability or jet sweeps or anything like that, the issue I had with the Matt Canada offense was the details of everything forced players to be so perfect that there was no margin for error. That if players screwed something up, even if just one player screwed something up, the entire play was shot. That's what I'm seeing out of this defense. I'm seeing if everybody executes perfectly, if all 11 guys execute perfectly, it's great. It's grand. A lot of the times they're going to win on that given play, as long as it's not one of those times where you just lose. And sometimes that happens. What happens now, it shouldn't happen when you're in the red zone and you're expecting you should know that a 4 verts concept could be coming. You're not going to trot out spot drop cover 3. But yeah, the scheme's not good. They ask way too much out of their players. That's the best way I can put it. Just no margin for error. James says, just joined. You're not DK. No, I'm not. DK did not just, hold his nose and blow and just a beard come out. And no,
he cannot grow a beard.
Oh, well, there you go. And you would know better than I would.
He grows things in areas, stubble, but not a full beard.
So, no, DK is in Tampa. The Penguins are playing the Lightning down there. So he's getting to enjoy some hockey tonight. So I'm taking over today. So you're stuck with me. Jose actually comes in and says, hey, Chris, can I tell them to download the app? Hey, if we can get Jose into the show.
Sure.
And he can, Jose. I mean, if you're watching, you can hear. Absolutely, call in, sign in through StreamYard, all that stuff.
Here it goes.
And
the code.
And yeah, she's sending you the code right now. Come on in and tell them about the app. And you can also plug the Pirates podcast to be named later too, since we do that one, where we talk about another team that's Got some flaws. Oh, man. Here's a good question. Chris, I have a question. Is Teryl Austin the best defensive coordinator in the league? Of course not. That's not a good question. No, he's not. He's not. No. Best defensive coordinator? I don't know. I don't know who I'd choose as like my favorite defensive coordinator or defensive coach. I think what McDonald is doing in Seattle is pretty awesome. Wayne asks a good question. Have zone blitzes gone out of vogue? Yeah, the Dick LeBeau era of like zone blitz and all that stuff is kind of outdated. Like offenses learned how to counter that stuff and get the ball out quick and kind of negate the blitz. That's why you see like nowadays it's a lot more too high. Nowadays, just to kind of give you a little bit of a football jargon type conversation, what defenses want to do majority of the time, this is NFL, college, high school, they want to run too high safeties as much as they possibly can. They want to be able to run too high and then stop the run as much as they possibly can. Like still find a way to run with too high safeties, keep only 7 guys down in the box, and then, yeah, there you go. Jose is here. I'm going to need headphones now so I can hear Jose talk.
Tell him to turn the camera sideways.
Yeah, Jose, you got to turn your camera sideways too.
There you are. Maybe not. You just need to turn it landscape.
It's just my phone, so.
Yeah, turn it the other way.
Turn it the other way. See what happens. There we go. It's perfect.
Nice shirt,
hey,
dude.
guys, download the app if you haven't already. I don't know
There
why
you go.
I don't know why you wouldn't have done it already, but yeah, get it done.
Let me see your shirt, dude. Nice.
Look at that. Look at that.
I'm on decorating duty for Christmas. We haven't put our tree up yet, so.
Yeah, my kids forced me to put our tree up before Thanksgiving. So
I can't do that.
So you're pretending to work so you don't have to decorate?
I was, yes, actually. I'm kind of I'm putting it off a little bit more than I should.
See, Nate gets it. Well, now that Jose said it, my DK was trying too hard. There were some days DK wasn't trying at all. He was just like, I'm not even going to tell you about the app today.
Yeah, I think that was most of the times he's just like, all right, I gave you guys the spiel the last 3.
He also didn't tell anybody about it for 10 years.
This is a good question for our producer today. The shirt is fire. Are those for sale?
Yes, you have to come to the store for that.
You have to come to the store.
Look at that.
If people don't live in Pittsburgh, can they buy them online?
Yes.
They can, but still come to the store. Come
to the store.
Come here. Come here.
Why wouldn't you want to go visit the wonderful storefront?
You will get to run into Dolly or possibly even DK. I might be here. Jose might be here.
I do have to make a visit down there. Haven't been in a while.
There you go.
Clifford says he wants more Kyle Schwarber talk.
Oh.
This show's about to go off the rails.
Yeah, this show is about football. I just wanted to tell you guys to download the app, which you can read about baseball, hockey, football, whatever your heart desires.
What did you say that made people think you have a Pittsburgh accent?
Dan, maybe? Did you say Dan?
I don't think so. I don't think I really have a Pittsburgh accent.
Well, that's not what Aiden thinks.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, if it works, then yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
But seriously, you guys should go get the app. I mean, literally the app is free. I know DK is going to say like you don't want the free version. And yeah, you probably don't want the free version because there are a lot of ads and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But you can go.
Start with that.
Yeah, you can go download the app. That literally does nothing but take space out of your phone. And now phones have so much storage, it doesn't even matter. I remember back in the day where I used to have to balance like how many apps can I have? I have to download music. Or delete music. I don't want to delete music. you don't have to worry about that anymore. The apps are so like, don't take up any space. Literally, you can go read our content. I wrote about this run defense stuff today on our app. It's in our Steelers feed. Jose fills our stuff with Pirates feed. Taylor's in the Penguins feed. DK is all over. He's in all three. He even has his own feed on the site where you can read all of his comments and everything he wants to say. Yeah, I mean, all that's free. You can go through all that. Now, you're going to want to comment. You're going to want to react. You put the little emojis on our stuff. That you won't be able to do without the premium version of the app, which, by the way, all those annoying ads would go away. And the way you can get that is to email DK. I'll put that right up here on the comments right now. If I can type and talk at the same time, that usually doesnuld work either. Usually if I try to do that, I'll start typing what I'm saying or start saying what I'm typing.
So he can answer it while you do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who would you rather see in the game this weekend, Pierre or Samuel? I mean, I think James Pierre deserves even more playing time, right? I mean, it was just a few weeks ago where, he was able to come into the game and have some pretty strong success. So why not give him the opportunity? He's been the one that's been in a Steeler uniform all year. So
yeah,
give him a chance.
Good question from Paul here, because we've both covered baseball. Obviously you cover baseball on a more regular basis. I have covered baseball on a beat full time for multiple seasons in the past. Paul asks, Chris and Jose, are football or baseball players better to meet, since that's the job perk? That's kind of funny, but like, you get to meet the players. But what are some of the, okay, from your perspective, and I can give mine, and then we can kind of end the show on this. What are some of your like pros and cons of baseball coverage versus football coverage?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I feel like in terms of going into the football room, it's at times, I mean, when they're winning, it's a little more upbeat. Not the,
to be fair, Jose's only covered the Pirates, and that clubhouse is pretty.
I'm not going to say it's completely awful all the time,
dead?
But when you are losing a lot,
lifeless.
At times, yes, all those things can be used to describe
melancholy.
The Pirates clubhouse at times. You're coming up with a lot better words than I would.
Downtrodden.
Backup beard.
I don't know.
Backup. Oh my, Jose, you got to grow a beard now. You got to grow a beard.
It's coming in a little bit.
You got to grow it's got to be more full, man. You got to have the backup beard.
I think it was an insult to his beard. I think it's backup beard. You have the
well, I mean, I'm not growing it. I'm not actively growing it, so.
Sensitive much?
That's mean.
That's
mean.
I tried to come in here and help out a little bit.
Get abused.
And just, for what?
That's good stuff, man.
I
That's
just wanted
good
to tell you
stuff.
guys not to download
What
the
doesn't
app.
kill you makes you stronger, Jose.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I will give you about pros and cons, baseball, and it's just because of the sheer volume of games. Baseball has media coverage down, like the science of it, just down to a T. Yeah. You know exactly where you need to go. You get there usually pretty easily. So there are some ballparks that are a little more difficult to navigate, but in terms of player access, in terms of like getting where you need to go, the press box, all that stuff, it's easy. NFL game days, every single one is an adventure. Even if you've been to the stadium before, even if you've like. It's an adventure. There will literally be times in which you are like, I can tell you one time, and it happened this season. I'm not going to say where, who, what team, or anything like that. But there was literally the Steelers PR person is telling us, okay, the locker room is now open. And the security people who were keeping the media out of the locker room were telling us we weren't allowed to go. Even though the PR person is literally saying they're allowed in, the security people were saying, yeah, you're not allowed to go, until the PR person literally walked up and like scolded the security person to say they're allowed in now. That's just one little hurdle. It's crazy. Like NFL game coverage and navigating, every NFL stadium has a gate around it. Yeah. Every single one. Every one. Like trying to get into an NFL stadium is its own adventure. And then once you're inside navigating, SoFi Stadium, $6 billion stadium, not one sign telling media where to go. Not one.
Yeah. I mean, And I see everybody talking about meeting the players, and I'll tell you what, on the
You get to
Pirates
meet the
side of
players.
things, yeah, we get to meet the players. Like Paul Skeens, that's just Paul from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you guys see him on a regular basis. Yeah, I mean, a lot of great guys in there that you get to talk with, and guys that just want to talk baseball, which is really, really cool. Just like off the top of my head, like talking to a guy like Isaac Mattson, who is just, obviously a great baseball player, great pitcher, and even better human being, just like talking to him about just regular stuff that's not baseball related. Like it's those types of things that make it really cool, because it's a job, but you also get to kind of know these guys and can just, talk about pretty much anything. So that part of the job, I guess, is pretty neat.
Well, all the stuff about the job that we do goes on to our app, and you can email DK. The email address is on the screen, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. If you email DK, he will get to your email as quickly as he possibly can, usually same day. Sometimes it'll be the next day, but he will get to you, and he will offer you a discount for our premium version of the app that I don't think anybody said no to. It's a ridiculous discount. You get everything free. You can comment on every single entry in all of our feeds and every single article, everything. You can reply with the rest of the community there. We have a community of subscribers. Sometimes it can get pretty heated in there, even amongst like staff to subscriber. That happened today. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's a community. We all usually love and support each other there, but sometimes it can get a little fun too. There could be some words exchanged, but it's usually fun. No politics. You don't have to worry about that crap. No obvious other huge red flags. Those get eradicated pretty easily. It's usually a lot of fun on there, and I always have a good time interacting with everybody. So yeah, go get the premium version of the app, like Jose came on the show to say. Jose, thank you for joining today to let everybody know. And we're going to sign off from here for this episode of Double Shot of Steelers. DK will be back in the morning with a daily shot of Steelers, as he always does for your Friday morning. And then we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'm flying solo or DK will be back. I don't know. Hopefully he'll be back, and we'll be back to normal with our double shot tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Either way, we will be back, whether it's me solo again, DK's back. We'll be back for Double Shot of Steelers tomorrow at 4 p.m. So until then, we'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We love you, Jose.
Bye, Jose.
Hey, guys.